Welcome back. I'm Magic Mocha de Coca. Today we'll be talking about our GABF gold medal winning beer, Cryo Chemistry. It won 2021 Hazy Double IPA. That was a total blast. Hold on. Winning the award was awesome and totally unexpected, and we had no idea what would happen. And it's awesome to win for a beer like this, and we can talk about what made the beer so special. All right, let's get to tasting the beer. The beer's beautiful, bright yellow gold. It's got awesome head, got plenty of carbonation. For a double IPA, I'll tell you right now, is dangerously drinkable. I think that's what makes this beer kind of special. Ingredient-wise, there isn't anything special though. We kind of played this one by the books because this was released during our anniversary and we wanted something that was extremely special and awesome. And in a weird way, just making sure that we did everything right, picking our best ingredients, taking everything we've learned from all our prior weird experimental batches and combining them into this one beer to create something bigger than the sum of its parts. To me, this beer is just loaded with a ton of high note tropical fruit. Orange, pineapple, mango, maybe that pink starburst, some lychee. On the palate, I get this like apricot skin, which is my favorite part. I feel like stone fruit is kind of really hard to come across in beer sometimes, and getting it really helps build this like wide frequency of flavors and fruit. In terms of malt, it's really just wheat, rye, and oats, and not very much, only 15% of the grain bill, which if you brew Hazy IPA, pretty much on the low side for what people are doing these days. The beer has a ton of flavor, a ton of body, and is just weirdly, overtly pleasurable to drink. It isn't the most harsh or bitter or sweet or strong Hazy Double IPA we've ever made or out there on the market. But at 8%, I don't think anyone will be upset at how easy this is to drink, which is, I think, part of the reason it did so well at the Great American Beer Festival. Extremely balanced and something that I can find myself and have been finding myself drinking a lot of recently. Let's talk hops. Hot side in the kettle, Citra Mosaic Idaho 7, which is in my opinion, one of the best, if not the best, tropical hot side hops to use. Very high alpha, so you have to beware when you use it, but it throws off insane orange marmalade, pineapple, mango kind of notes that you can't really get with anything else. Citra Mosaic are just awesome and provide their own tropical notes, and we went pretty heavy. For us, it's about 1.5 pounds in the Whirlpool, pound per barrel in the Whirlpool. It provides this awesome base for this big beer. We are allowed to add a little bit of bitterness because it is such a big beer and a high finishing gravity that you need that bitterness in order to cut through it all to keep the beer refreshing. So that's hot side. Cold side on the dry hop, it's a plethora of hops and why this beer is called Cryo Chemistry. The main ones are Mosaic Cryo, Citra Cryo, and Amarillo Cryo. Mosaic and Amarillo to me is one of the best combos of a dry hop you can get when you have good Amarillo, and Amarillo Cryo is good Amarillo. So all of those notes just compacted into this super tropical, over-the-top, pungent, high-octane thing, and then combined with some Azaka, which provides tropical notes, but to me in a more candied, blueberry kind of way, different than the high, sweaty kind of guava passion fruit of the cryo hops. We also added strata, and we actually have 2 lots of strata. One we call our fruity lot, and one we call our dank lot. With all of those high octane fruity hops, I decided to throw the dank lot in to kind of balance it out and give us a different edge. And when we say dank, it's relative. It's still really orangey and fruity, but it's got a little bit of grassiness that helps balance the other hops. I'm gonna look at my notes here because I think there's one more hop. Oh yeah, last but not least, there's Sabro. Now Sabro is a little divisive of a hop. It can come off very coconutty and creamy, but also a lot of dill and herbaceousness depending on what lots you get or just your palate. It has something that in my opinion helps elevate the rest of the hops. So it's really only about 5% of the dry hop, but that little bit helps lift all the other characters of the beer. If you get some coconut and dill, good for you, your palate's amazing. But to me, it just helps amp everything up on an already amped up dry hop, which with the cryo hops we estimate is about a 5 pound per barrel dry hop, which is pretty high for us. We've gone higher, we've gone lower, but we found that about 4 pounds is our sweet spot in making something really good. We decided to go really big on this beer, and for good reason. It's a great beer. So why did we decide to send this beer in particular of all our beers to GABF? At the time, we were actually kind of rushing around. They moved the GABF submissions a month earlier than they normally have been in the past. So we had to scramble a little bit. And this beer, because we did do it for our anniversary, was already going to be a special beer. Oh, this beer, because we were doing it for our anniversary, was already going to be a special beer. Making this beer the first time was kind of a weird snafu. We had originally planned to do this crazy high gravity brewing and split some off into our smaller 10-barrel tank to make a really 7-pound per barrel dry hopped triple IPA, and then this double IPA would kind of be the leftover. And we had to brew 2 beers of different gravities, different strains, with similar hops, dry hop them differently, and try to average everything out. And it worked fairly well. It got us a gold medal. And then going back to having to rebrew this, we had to take those 2 beers and reverse engineer them to come up with this. And we actually, this is our second re-attempt at brewing this beer. The first one over attenuated. It was much higher than 8% and also a lot drier than the original beer. And we wanted to make sure that when we did release this beer, it was as intended. The only crazy thing I think we did with this beer is really cold Whirlpool edition, Cool Pool edition. So if you're gonna brew this at home, please make sure that you cool the Whirlpool before you add the hops. We do it by adding cold water because we don't have a good way to do it yet. But make sure you get a good cold Whirlpool to make sure only most of the oils and you don't get a lot of bitterness and isomerization of the beer. A little bit of bitterness is fine, especially in something this big. So good luck. Hopefully you guys can brew this, and if not, come back. I'm sure we'll be brewing it all the time.